If you enjoy the video, please consider subscribing, cause if you do, I'll finally be able to get out of the Wasteland. Half-Life 2's development, specifically the plotline, was very progressive and prone to major changes. In one of the many plotline revisions, Gordon was to escape City 17 through the canals and reach Helena Mossman's Kraken base. Through his journey, he would reach destinations such as the Hyperborea, or rather, the Borealis, and then the depot. A major part of this journey would have been traveling through the Wasteland. Starting from 2001, the first map is rather simple, more of a concept than a map. It has a couple of bull squids in what appears to be a dried up lake. We see a bridge that is actually a railway for the Razor train that travels from the city to places like the depot and the prisons and other Combine facilities. The train tracks are a major element visible in most of these maps, and would have been a key element in the older version of Half-Life 2. These dried up lands aesthetic was another major plot point. In an earlier video I described that in the original story, the Combine were extracting minerals from the oceans and its water, which meant that there was next to no water remaining on Earth. In the upcoming maps, you'll notice that we're actually walking on a dry seabed, places that would normally have massive bodies of water. The next map is an earlier version of the depot. You'll see this design improved throughout the video. Notice here the train tracks are present as well. The map has the antlions fighting with the Combine, and there's also a cremator in there as well. Cremator being a cut enemy, and I'll do a video on cut characters and enemies in the near future. The map itself is fine, but I really admire the surroundings. Never-ending stretches of the Wasteland evokes a sense of isolation, and being stuck with antlions and Combine soldiers adds a feeling of danger to the mix. The map has some interior sections as well, but it's nothing special. Seeing this looks like an early draft of a map, I expected nothing much either. Now this map feels like an extended upgrade to the first map. It has almost the same things. A railway bridge with a valley underneath it. The land shows cracks, which kind of implies that water used to run through here, but it's all barren now. On both sides are Combine encampments with soldiers guarding the area. I like the grayish blue tint on the rock textures. Feels like the area has a cold temperature to it. And it would make sense, I guess, because we're heading towards the Borealis, which is parked in an Arctic region full of snow. The map's sequence is pretty simple. You start from one end and make it to the other, and move forward through a gate. The map wasn't much developed because I fell through the world when trying to step outside through this gate. This map was called something like Test_Wasteland. Most probably the developers were trying to test out the lighting and textures. There's also a lot of other maps like these not related to the Wasteland, and they only exist to test out textures and figure out what lighting should be used for that particular location. Although a test map, the overarching sense of solitude is felt strongly. I love the feelings these maps give. Another test map. This one has different geographical elements. There's a valley in the middle with plateaus on both sides. I wonder how these cars got here. Maybe some unfortunate escapees who met a terrible fate at the hands of the wilderness. This one is called Proto_Wasteland Depot. Given its name, it's obvious that it's a prototype. It improves on the depot design we saw earlier. Again, most of these improvements include enlarging the world space, giving the location a sense of depth and height. Making it bigger makes it more intimidating. I was kind of surprised to see trees laid across the mountains we see in the distance, there in the background. It's weird to see trees or other foliage in Half-Life 2. The inside of the map just has this one hut. Good map. They were starting to polish their map ideas. The previous design gets more updates and it becomes this map. Now we have rocks and a gunship right at the start. I don't know why, but I got strong vibes of that level in Half-Life 2 where we have to fight a gunship atop the lighthouse. I swear this feels like a precursor to that level in the Highway 17 chapter. The depot itself is more refined now. It has the appearance of a prison. That combine type structure is the railway station where train cargo or prisoners are unloaded. I was surprised to see that this map has a little bit of interior as well. It's very janky though. It appears that it has some jail cells. Nova Prospect, anyone? We see a polished version of the depot interior ahead. This is the next revision of the same map. Again, the exterior of the depot changes a slight bit, but the more apparent changes are seen inside the walls. It's more proper looking now. It has 2 jail cells and a bit of an outside area. I swear this is more interesting than Nova Prospect. I really wish this wasn't cut from the final game. The jail cells area itself is pretty simple. That bit of light coming in through the windows is a great little touch. Sort of an analogy or contrast between prison and its depression and freedom or hope. Now, this is the inside of the depot, and that's what the map is called, Wasteland Depot Inside. So I guess that dark combine structure I called the railway station wasn't a railway station. That's the depot. What we were looking at earlier was the prison. It doesn't feel like it would be this huge inside when looking from the outside. This is where the Razor train stops, unloads the cargo, and carries on its journey. You can see some of the unloaded train carriages in here as well. The rest of the map was good, but it wasn't particularly interesting. The verticality shown in this area is very intriguing. There's this huge basement area in the map that houses a lot of the Combine's supply. Good aesthetics, lamps and boxes and all that. So there we have it. That was the Wasteland, or maybe the depot. I'm not sure because there was some confusion about the maps. I could not figure out if all of these maps were related to the depot or the Wasteland. When doing my research, all of the maps I showed you fell under the depot category, while the Wasteland would have had its own maps. I don't know. I couldn't find the Wasteland maps in the files that I have. Well, I don't know. If it looks cool, it goes in the video. There's no use in overthinking this stuff. So after the depot, Gordon would have made his way to the air exchange before reaching the Borealis and then Kraken base. If you're interested in looking at the Borealis or Kraken base, let me know in the comments. If you want to see the air exchange, I already have a video on that and you can check it out. Thank you for watching.